So we're here in the Marsh Grey, the 2022 model. I've done around about now 162 kilometres on the bike, and I'm planning on giving it a oil drop at 200 kilometres. So I always like to give them a good oil drop at that first stage, 200 k's, because during the running in stage I only run it around 10-15 kilometres per cycle, then give it a complete cool down, which takes sometimes several hours. And I do this for the first 200 k's because I think that's the most critical part of the motor. Take it easy after that one, and so far this bike hasn't been over 50 kilometres an hour, and it's done all around town running. So that's the plan with this bike. Once it hits 200 k's, I'm just going to do a quick oil drop myself. I'm not going to worry about ripping out the filter. Just do an oil drop and put another lot of fresh oil in it, and then run it from 200 to 500. When I get to that stage, I'll be able to just run it in that period of 200 to 500 k's. I'll run it at 50 to 80 kilometres an hour up into that one. But what I do know is at this stage, with 160 k's on the clock, it's still, you know, you can only have to go out and do 10-15 kilometres at the max, and you can still build a motor. You can still bring the bike back and it still smells warm or hot, and you can tell the bike has sort of been doing a little bit of work. And I think this usually goes on for a little while till, you know, at least a few hundred kilometres, and then after that smell goes away, or the heat from them, and you're right after that, because that's how the blue one went, and I think it's going to follow the same pattern here. So if you keep that in mind, don't be a concern there. So and back to the idea of going to 200 k's and doing the oil change, I'm not going to worry about anything like doing pulling the filter there, because when I pulled the filter and did a complete job on the blue one, the filter looked really good, so that's a waste of time. All I'm concerned about getting that old oil out when I've been running it around at low kilometres in town, and it looks, the other bike when it was pulled out, really black, so I think I'll rip that out. And something different what I'm going to try is, you may be aware that the new classic 350s have got a front oil drain plug. So what we're going to do is hit that front oil drain plug, stay away from the screen filter first, undo the front plug, just see how much oil comes out of that plug when I drop it. So that's what the experiment is today. Never tried it on the blue bike, but we'll try it on this. I've been out, I've done roughly a 25 kilometre run on the bike this morning, and I've now clocked 201 kilometres. So safe to do my oil change where I wanted to do it at 200 k's. Now my favourite oil, and everyone's got a favourite oil, but my favourite oil for these bikes is Penrite HPR Gas 10 10W50, so that's the oil in question I'm going to use. I've got my tray here ready to dump the oil. Everything's ready to go. What I'm going to do is hit the front drain plug. Yeah, so in reference to that front drain plug, I don't know where my tripod is, so I had to do a handhold here, so I was just wondering how hard it was to loosen off this front drain plug, which is 17mm and located right here at the front of the bike. Now I thought I'd have a lot of trouble getting that off, but apparently it wasn't even tight. So I didn't even have to use really any pressure at all. I went to put the 17mm spanner on it, or actually a socket spanner, and it turned quite easy. So just to make it easy, we're going to drain it now, see what comes out. They're getting into it now. Got the nice clean container here below. And this should be pretty warm, this oil, because it's been in it for 25 k's. Now not much has dropped out there, but I'll go and undo the other top filter plug. See if that makes much difference to the oil drop. One thing I will say that I should have done it myself rather than talk about it. I should have checked that plug in the beginning, because it wasn't on really tight at all, so you can't really trust dealers what carry on. So there you go, see? From that point there, very little oil come out. I don't know it would make any difference if you're on the side stand, but looking at what come out then, I wouldn't even bother undoing it next time. It'd be just a waste of time, my thoughts. Okay, we'll get here and undo these. Quite a lot of oil coming out now. I'll just let it drip like that and try to get out as much as I can, and then get the balance of it off. Now, I still haven't completed the exercise yet, so I've got to get here with the long nose pliers, pull out the filter basket. Might just move this out of the way in case I drop the camera in it. Get a hold of it here, like so. Out it comes, and we'll have a quick look at it now and just see what it's like. Okay, when you look around this, there's very little rubbish at all, a little bit there, but there's no doubt about it, these new engines are extremely clean. You would never get it like that in some of the old Enfields. It's just remarkable how clean these motors are now. If you have a look at my container, it's totally clean. So the oil catch was good, no metal, no nothing, no rubbish, just totally clean after 200 kilometres in that. So pretty happy with that. So what I usually do every oil change is, in Australia we've got our 2 litre milk containers. So what I do is, whatever I take out the bike, I pour it straight into one of these. After I get it in the container there, I pour it straight into a milk container, mark it on the side there, like so. And that's what I'll do exactly. Grab myself another milk container, put it next to that one as a reference, and pour the new oil over here the Penrite, HVR Gas 10, 10W50, pour it up to the same level there, and everything will be right in that line, and I'll just put in exactly what I pulled out of it, because there's no reason not to change that. So it's pushing close to the 2 litre mark by the looks of it. Remember, I didn't change the oil filter, but the engine with no rubbish in it, it was that clean that way. It'd be just a waste of time changing the filter at 200 kilometres. I'll do it at 500. I've got a spare one in there, and the main thing is get rid of the oil. You can see how dark it is anyway when we look even towards the light. So it's done a little bit of work. So apart from that, it'll be just a matter of put the new oil in it, get it back out along the road. Now I'll run it around 50 to 80 kilometres an hour up until I get to the 500 k's, and then when I drop the oil the next time, that's when I'll change the filter in the side too. Now once again, as a reference, this front oil sump plug down there, I wouldn't waste my time undoing that again. It's just a waste of time. There wasn't much oil come out of it. And it was, in actual fact, on the old Classic 500, I've seen more oil come out on one of those than one of these. But, you know, it may be different if you put it on a side stand. You could try that next time. I may try that next time at the 500k, put it on the side stand, see if it makes any difference. But on the centre stand, just nothing come out. Probably, I don't know, 50 or 100 mil at the most, just not worth worrying about. So you've got an idea now if you're worried about doing that side of it. One good thing about it, from my point, why it was worth me trouble checking it, was because the front plug was not on there tight. It was just put up, nothing better, I think, than finger tight. So if I wouldn't have come along and checked it ever, it could have been a problem where one day it just eventually shook itself loose and something went wrong and fell out, and I would have lost all my oil. So apart from that, it was a good move in my part to check that one, because I brought out a big socket spanner and everything to try to get it out, because I thought it might have been a really tight fit. But I was really surprised is when I put the big spanner onto it first to give it a try, to give it a bit of a whirl, and it just spun, and I thought, something wrong here. So I would say whatever happened, whether it happened overseas or whether it happened at the dealer, someone didn't tighten it properly to start with and virtually screwed in with their fingers and left it at that, forgot about it, and that's how it goes. So, you know, like I've always said, just because you take a bike to a dealer or buy one from a dealer doesn't necessarily mean everything's right when you pick it up. Sometimes that part's up to you. So I'll put the new oil in, and I'm ready now to be able to get out there and go a little bit at a quicker pace compared to what I've been. Pretty happy with how this bike's going. Hope you enjoy this part of it. There's no point in going along just seeing me pour a bit of oil in the bike. You can see that anyway. So once again, thanks for tuning in, taking a look. But more importantly, don't get too concerned about that second drain plug at the bottom. It's not worth worrying about. So cheers for now.